This will be a day long remembered. Now I am the master.
Welcome to another episode of Legends and Theories, and welcome to my final review of a regular show within just overall seasons. And this time I'm looking at Season 8 exclusively, also known as Regular Show in Space. And with this, I'm looking at the different plot lines, and specifically I did this because of the final episodes of the show, which begins with episode 15 up to episode 28, although it is technically 20 and 29, since it is a two-part finale. Well, really a three-part, but parts 2 and 3 are split into one. And starting up, we have One Space Day at a Time, and I think that is a nice introduction to space with all the problems they will have and what it's like now. And just, getting the characters reacting to their new scenario, and the same thing happens in Cool Robots, where they're still trying to figure out more of the mysteries of space and what they should be really doing and who that they should trust. I think those two are a pretty solid start to the season and start setting up everything really nicely. And then we get to episode 3 where they truly figure out everything, what they think their mission is, but there's an obvious tease when they have all the classified parts teasing what will happen at the end of the season, although they don't outright say it. And yeah, that is interesting. And then we get Space Creds, Lost and Found, and those are two. They're just okay ones in space, just trying to set things up. And then we have a fun one with Ugly Moons, where Muscle Man is planning an extremely over-elaborate prank on the rival space station, the Space Bush. And that's a really fun one. And then the first major one to go into the final storyline is the Dream Warrior, where we can see Pops going and fighting out a nightmare alien who's trying to take over his mind, and non-existing his mind, trying to figure out where he is. And this is where we see the first appearance of Anti-Pops, and that is an interesting moment to see this evil version of such a good character and start to build up a mystery of who this guy is. And then we go on to some more ones. We have the Brain of Evil, Prize Night, Space and McSpace Tree, Can You Hear Me Now, Stuck in an Elevator, The Space Race, which I think is a string of pretty decent episodes. None of them are amazing, none of them are horrible. And then we have Operation Hear No Evil, and that is a unique one. I think it's just one that was made to, kind of have the stuff about spoilers, and I think it was a fun one. And I like how at the end they accidentally get it spoiled, but then Benson gets it spoiled. And it just gives you a lot of good strategies to, avoid spoilers as long as you're not going online. Yeah, there's a pretty crazy one, and then up next there is Space Escape, and that's where the ending storyline truly begins in full force. Besides a few cutaways to holiday-themed episodes, this is the storyline that is followed throughout the rest of the show, and with it, we get to see Anti-Pops attacking and everyone escaping. There's also a few deaths, I believe, of both Ross and Sure Shot. And it definitely gave stakes to this and put us into an interesting position. And then I think these are the last true two unique episodes that aren't built into the plot of, well, fully built into the plot of Pops and Anti-Pops, with new beds and more to be and Rigbikai. And those ones are just, the first one is actually just them trying to get new beds, since most of them don't have beds since they don't live at the park, and Skip's was destroyed. And then we also have more to be in Rig Kai, which is the last real sort of independent episode that isn't a holiday one, that isn't, just tied into everything with Pops and Anti-Pops. Up next is Alpha Dome, and that one is a pretty interesting one because we get to see someone abusing their power, and then basically he gets everything reversed, and now he's the one being kind of treated poorly, but yeah, it's still interesting. And then we have Terror Tale of the Parks 6. And with this one, I think that it was initially intended to go earlier in the season since there's a few characters here, like Sure Shot still being alive. I'm just guessing that the release schedule was pushed ahead and they had to move this back, so they weren't showing a Halloween episode most likely in September or August. And then we go to the ice tape where we have a bunch of, suicidal people that want to help Pops no matter what. And they go and sacrifice themselves in kind of pointless efforts that doesn't do much to help. And there was definitely easy ways around it. And then we get the key to the universe, which goes right off of the ice tape where they learn everything, and No Train, No Gain, where those who are essential about training Pops to become the ultimate fighter. And then we have Christmas in Space, an episode I have already reviewed. And then there's really these episodes all go into each other one after the other. Kill 'em with Kindness, where Pops tries to go and make an alliance with Anti-Pops and not have to fight. And this is a major theme for the last few episodes. Pops does not want to fight his brother, but everyone else is trying to convince him. And then we see Meet the Seer, where Pops is trying to figure out where to go, but also we have the return of the Format Wars and streaming going to try and take over everything. So we get two great storylines there. Then we have Cheer Up Pops, where this is, the really act as the penultimate episode. It is everyone trying to cheer up Pops, and as well it says in the title, and I haven't been so depressed that everyone could die the next day. And then we get to the finale, which is probably one of the saddest episodes to be done in television, with a regular, like, final battle, parts 1, 2, and 3. Part 1 is a separate episode, and 2 and 3 are another one. And yeah, I think that the ending with Pops dying was really sad, and those last few moments are done really well of regular show. But going to the first one, they do have an interesting plan. They try to go and trick Pops by Anti-Pops by using traps on him, thinking they could win. But it ends with Anti-Pops escaping. We also learn how this has been happening multiple times for billions of years, and almost everything ends the same way. All the battles do go a little differently, like them using pool noodles one time. And yeah, the last one, I think that that's really interesting to see that everyone shows up. It was very similar to Exit 9B, where they have their allies show up, but this one, they have just so many more. And then we get to see everything be erased at the end of part 2, and part 3 starts in a great way where we go back to episode 1, The Power, and see everything reset, although it is not fully reset, and they use the power to get back to the present. And I think that it's really a good way to do this because you go and watch it and you see it goes to the power and you're thinking, oh, are they showing the first episode again? And you see that it's because they are recycling right back to the start. saying, you have to go back to the start where the show started, and that'd be with a power, not pilot. And yeah, I think that is a really good way to do it. I also think that they've recreated the beginning of the show really well, and go back to the finale where we see the final battle end, and then after the final battle ends, we get a very nice montage showing off everything that has happened to our heroes. We get to see how Mordecai becomes an artist and does get to have a family with a new person that's not CJ or Margaret, since, well, he sabotaged both of his relationships with CJ and Margaret. And then we could see Rigby does get to go be with Eileen. Muscle Man goes to raise his own family with Starla. We have High Five Ghost becoming a DJ with his girlfriend Celia. And then Benson and Skips both stay at the park, although Benson does get to be with his love interest Pam. We get to see that Skips has not really changed too much, although he does wear shorts now instead of long pants. And the sad thing is, Skips is still going to be outliving all of these characters and continuing on, having to do stuff like Chloric Bane once again and do a lot more different things, because I think that, yeah, Skips is a real tragic character, since if they did decide to do like a regular show sequel series where it followed all the characters, well, now maybe like a new group of characters working at the park, and maybe just having cameos from other characters, I think the only one that would have a major role would be Skips, and well, Benson could too, but Benson could quickly leave because he wouldn't be able to be there all the time. And yeah, I think that this is such a good show. It did a great job, and as Pop said, it's a jolly good show, with that final shot being really amazing. With Pops watching from heaven as he gets to see how his friends live their lives and been able to save all of them. And I think that regular show is just such an amazing show. They put so much love and effort into it. And with their finale, they did such a great job. I want to know what you think. Let me know in the comments, and I will see you all in the next episode of Legends and Theories. Thank you for watching this episode of Legends and Theories. Please subscribe, like the video, share the video, leave a comment, check out the video on screen, and may the Force be with you.